And welcome back to New Day. Now it's time for the legal desk, and this morning we're talking about a very, very important and interesting issue: the media and the law. And I have with me Mr. Yabwedu Ayeboafo, who is the director of newspapers at the Graphic Communications Group Limited. Good morning, sir.
Good morning.
How are you this morning?
By God's grace, I'm fine.
Okay, it's good to have you here.
Thank you.
I believe this is the first time we're having you on the legal desk.
I don't know, but I've been here many times.
On the legal desk, you haven't been. Okay, well, welcome. And this morning we're talking about the media and the law. Now, freedom of the press is a fundamental liberty that is guaranteed by our constitution. But some people have said that the courts are a bit reluctant when it comes to impinging on that freedom. Basically because where do we draw the line between matters which are of the public interest and matters of defamation, libel, and slander? What was your take on that?
Well, you see, the critical thing is that the position of the law is that the individual must be encouraged to express themselves. I mean, they must be encouraged to benefit from the freedoms that is available. But if in the exercise of that freedom is going to negatively affect the rest of us, then it means that something has to be done. Because the fact that you have a right does not mean that you can come and say anything to me. You must take responsibility for what you say to me. And so your freedom is permitted in as far as your activities do not negatively impact on another person. For as long as what you are doing or what you are saying doesn't offend the sensibilities of another person, then you can say that. The moment that what you're saying is offensive to another person, then you bear responsibility for that. I mean, that is somehow the boundary. Sometimes people do not appreciate it very well. And so therefore they think that freedom of expression means that you can say anything that you want to say and you go away. But if what you are saying offends me, does that mean that I don't have a right and it is only you who have a right? No, I also have a right. And so it is between the right of the two of us. Where does it clash? Where does it coordinate? Where does it ensure that both of us, none of us takes advantage of the other? For as long as one is not taking advantage of the other, the law allows. The moment that you try to hit at the other person, the law says, please stop, take responsibility. So that is...
But at what point do we say or do we realize that we have crossed that line? Because the journalist or the news editor, newspaper editor, whoever, will argue that it's right to information. And then the other party will say that it's their personal privacy is being infringed upon. So
Yes.
at what point?
That's why I'm saying that it's about striking a balance between the public interest and the individual's rights. Okay? Now, sometimes when we say that you are invading somebody's privacy, what we mean is that you are exposing something about somebody that ought not to be known. For instance, as we said here, I mean, let me be base and say that what you are wearing and what I'm wearing, how does that affect anybody? So why should I be interested in finding out why is it that you are wearing this, that you should have worn something differently from that? It is when you go into that area that you are intruding into somebody's privacy. It means that you want to bring into the public domain something that must remain with that individual. I mean, who you choose as your boyfriend is a matter for yourself. Who I choose as my wife or my girlfriend is a matter for me. It is not for you to determine for me who should be my friend. And it is when you want to intrude into that area, that's where we talk about invading somebody's privacy. Or sometimes, like the flood. Yesterday I heard that there's flooding in Dome and some areas. Last year there was a flooding there. I mean, somebody lost their mother and the child. Now, in the moment of that grief, you go there with your microphone and say, how do you feel about the loss? You are not being sensitive to that individual, because at that moment of time in that individual's life, that individual has lost all sense, and that individual has become so emotional. And if you are not very careful and you poke the microphone there, that individual is going to say, take your microphone away. and then you expose that to the public. Now you will not have been fair to that individual, because in that moment of grief, nobody controls his or her senses, and we become, emotional. Those are the areas that we say that please show some decorum, and that when you go there, somebody is weeping. I've lost my mother, and I am human, and therefore I am weeping. And then you want everybody to know that Aibuafu also weeps. Yeah, but that is normal for everybody to weep in any moment of grief. And so you show me in that horrible condition, because when you are emotionally affected, you lose your sense of balance, and therefore you can do a lot of things that ordinarily you will not do. And that is not a time for people to show that bad side, that negative side of you, because in your moment of grief you have lost your sense of direction, and you are throwing yourself all over the floor, and then they are projecting you on the screens, and everybody say, hey, look at him lying there. And those are the moments that we think that we should allow for human decency, and allow individuals to enjoy some privacy, so that they can also behave like normal human beings without the interference of other persons.
Okay, what are some of the legal boundaries for the media when it comes to this area?
Well, the difficulty for us in this country is unfortunately the fact that some of the laws that we are still applying are 17th century laws of England, and we've not been able to update them and to bring ourselves up to date. And so we don't have a privacy law, for instance.
Even in England, it's still very sketchy.
No, we don't have the defined, something that is legislated upon. What we are practicing is what we call common law, and common law is that which we took away when we signed the bond of 1844. Those are the kind of things you can imagine that time, the laws that were applicable to England at that time, and we are applying them now. When we come to the question of defamation, again also we don't have any written law that clearly states that this is defamation or that, and so the boundaries are not very clearly set out, except that what we say is that at the minimal level, why is it that when somebody does to you, you get hurt? Right? If somebody does something to you and you get hurt, don't do that to another person. At least that is the standard test. We call it the test of harm, that which the Bible says, do unto others what you want others to do unto you. Now, if we were to
is this the test that is applied in the courts?
No. Yes, it's part of the test, because you see, the thing is that once the law has not been clearly written down, where you can see A, B, C, D, that this is the point, then you take yourself as a human being. If somebody says something to you that gets to the core of your reputation, for instance, if I say, I know why you are here, it is not because you are qualified. It creates and immediately creates a problem. It means that you are here through some means that maybe, I know that is not true. I know that you passed an entrance examination, you applied, you went through interview before you were recruited, and I come and tell everybody that I know why you are here. It is not because you are good, it is because of some other things. Meanwhile, I know that what I'm saying is not true. I'm only doing that so that the people here will not associate with you any longer.
So basically, a publication that will make right thinking or reasonable members of the society see you in a different way.
Yes, shun you in a not a different way, in a negative way. And you know that what you are saying is not true. The test is the truth. If it is true, then nothing arises, because if that is your nature, that is what society knows you to be.
How do you prove that this is the truth? Is it that way it becomes difficult when it comes to defamation?
So you went to school. You are O level, you got 99999. It's a fact. So if I say you don't even have an O level, I can prove it because you have your O level records, or you are SS whatever, or C or whatever. And so those ones, if you can prove it, that's what the lawyers call justification. If you can justify, then you can, because I come and say that you are not qualified, and I'm able to establish that your O levels, you did not even pass one subject, and I can produce a copy of your transcript, then I'm able to establish that. It is when I know that what I'm saying is not true. I know. And I'm doing that because I want you to be shunned by your colleagues, those who have been associating with you. I want them to know that you are a different character from what they see you, and I know that what I'm saying is not true and it's not a fact, because my only interest is to destroy you in the face of other people. Definitely, if you did that, you must know that what you are doing is wrong. If somebody did the same thing to you, you'll be offended. Why are you doing that to somebody? So I'm saying that at the base of it is, let's take it that, what don't I like? So why do I do what I don't like to other people? And if we take it at that human level, we may be able to reduce the incidence of some of the things that we have been doing and avoid some of these. Because in recent times, the costs are becoming they are imposing. Look at Kwasi Abinti. 250,000. It's not a small amount of money.
Do you think the courts are kind of sounding a warning to the media?
Definitely, because you cannot be reckless. There must be some basis of the thing that you are doing. If you because in the first place, it is the duty and responsibility of the media to expose wrong. That is part of our responsibility. But in the attempt to satisfy that responsibility, we must not destroy individuals baselessly. There must be some basis for the things that we do, because at the end of the day, our intention must be promoting and protecting the public interest. Now, if there's no interest to be protected, why do you create a problem there and try to pretend that you are resolving the problem when there is none? In that case, it looks like the boy who kills the mother and the father, right? And then when he goes to court, he pleads that, have mercy on me because I am an orphan. An orphan that you impose on yourself because you killed your mother and you killed your father. And you knew that when you killed them, you have to take responsibility. And now that you are an orphan, you are pleading that you are an orphan. How did you become an orphan? So when we know that the thing that we are doing is not right, we should check ourselves. For instance, maybe Graphic has published a story which is not true, it's defamatory. Then TV3, you are not under any obligation, and then you take that story and you broadcast it, and then when they ask you, say, oh, we only took it from Graphic. Who forced you to take something from Graphic? You must take responsibility for your action. And those are the instances and the circumstances under which, in the name of freedom, we cannot justify recklessness in the name of freedom.
Right.
Because freedom becomes meaningful only when it is exercised with responsibility.
Okay. Now, it's not really a Ghanaian culture for people to prosecute matters of libel, slander, and defamation in the courts. But with the recent successful prosecution of the Asiedu Nketewa's Kwasi Abinti and the award given, do you think that people will now begin to prosecute more cases, and in that way to make the media set up or kind of reports based on facts?
Well, I don't know whether many people are going to go to court, but many people will go to court only when the media become reckless and irresponsible. If the media do the basic things that they are supposed to do, first by cross-checking the information that they have. And
do you think the media is doing a good job of that now?
No, you cannot, because look, the point is that the media is a reflection of the general society, and so it is made up of evil and good, right? And so you cannot say that, oh, they are not doing this or they are doing that. But sometimes they do not set out to destroy people. Sometimes it is a matter of one word. If they had used another word instead of another, they would have avoided the question of that. The other thing is that most of the cases that succeed is only because the media fail to contact the person who is at the center of the story that they are writing, which is a basic requirement of law. That whoever that you are accusing must be heard.
Okay. And so in that form, it becomes a sort of malicious intent.
It is.
Thank you very much for your time this morning, Mr. Yaobwedu Ayeboafo. That's all the time we have for this segment. He is a director of newspapers at the Graphic Communications Group Limited, and we've been talking about the media and the law here in Ghana. This has been the Legal Desk. We'll be back.